The cold night air hit my face as I stood at my own doorstep, exhausted from the year-long business venture in Thailand. My heart had raced with anticipation during the entire journey home. I couldn't wait to hold my wife in my arms again. But fate had other plans. Through the courtyard gate, I witnessed a scene that would forever be seared into my memory. My wife Chin Rohan, cradling a baby while nestled against another man's chest. The courtyard was awash in warm lamplight, creating an almost mockingly picturesque scene. My mother-in-law, Lu Feng, hovered around them like a dutiful servant, swatting away mosquitoes with the kind of attention she had never shown me. "This child is truly blessed with his father's handsome features," she cooed, her voice dripping with adoration. Meanwhile, my father-in-law emerged from the house bearing a steaming bowl of chicken soup, his face glowing with pride I had never seen directed at me. The peaceful tableau shattered with my wife's piercing scream when she finally noticed my presence. The color drained from her face as she stumbled to her feet, clutching the baby closer to her chest. "Husband, this isn't, let me explain," she stammered, but the evidence before my eyes needed no explanation. The man beside her, Kui Liang, didn't even bother to hide his smug satisfaction. Before I could process the betrayal, my mother-in-law grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my flesh as she hissed, "Wen Shaoqing, know your place. Some matters aren't for you to question." My father-in-law, Qin Tingyue, joined her, his face twisted with contempt. "This is our family's centennial plan with the prestigious Kui family. What right does a live-in son-in-law have to interfere?" Chin Rohan, the woman I had loved and trusted, finally found her voice. "I did this for our family," she declared, her chin lifting in defiance. "The Kui family support is essential for our survival. If you're wise, you'll accept the honor of being this child's nominal father." Kui Lang's laughter cut through the tension like a knife. "You should be grateful I chose your wife to bear my child." Little did they know that their precious Kui family was merely a steward for my true identity, something I had kept hidden all this time. The year I spent in Thailand wasn't just any business trip. It was the final piece of a puzzle I had been carefully assembling. But in this moment, none of that mattered. The betrayal burned through my veins, dissolving years of patient tolerance. I shoved aside my in-laws' restraining hands, my voice rising above the cricket-filled night. "No more. You will explain this betrayal, or there will be consequences." For a moment, stunned silence filled the courtyard. My in-laws stood frozen, their faces registering shock at my uncharacteristic outburst. They had grown too comfortable with my submissive demeanor over the years. Chin Rohan hastily handed the baby to her mother and rushed toward me, her eyes brimming with calculated tears. "Darling, please, let me explain. You're misunderstanding everything." Time was when those tears would have melted my resolve instantly. I used to think her vulnerable expressions were genuine, believing her to be as pure as mountain snow. Now, looking at her face, I felt nothing but revulsion crawling under my skin. "I sacrificed everything for your family," I spat out, each word laced with venom. "I worked until my bones ached, and this is how you repay me, by bearing another man's child?" Through artfully orchestrated sobs, Chin Rohan launched into her defense. "Xiaoqing, I didn't betray you. It was artificial insemination." She reached for my hand, which I immediately withdrew. "Kui Liang's wife is barren. He promised to secure the Wen family partnership in exchange. You know how crucial that project is for us. For you. Everything I did for our future." The nausea rising in my throat had nothing to do with the late hour. How easily she justified her betrayal, wrapping it in false nobility. I turned to leave, determined to walk away from this facade of a family, when an imperious voice cut through the night air like a whip. "Hey, kid, stop acting self-righteous after enjoying all the benefits." Kui Lang's voice dripped with condescension. "You should be honored I chose your wife to carry my heir." The rage that had been simmering beneath my skin exploded into white-hot fury. I lunged forward, every muscle tense to wipe that smug smile off his face. But Qin Rohan's arms locked around me from behind, restraining me with surprising strength. My mother-in-law, Liu Feng, immediately positioned herself as a human shield before Kui Liang, her expression glacial. "You ignorant fool! Do you know who you're dealing with? Mr. Kui is Jiang Cheng's golden son. Women line up to bear his children. He specifically chose Rohan for her grace and beauty. You should be grateful." Qin Tingyue stepped forward, his face thunderous. "Listen well, Wen Shaoqing. Everything the Qin family has achieved is thanks to Mr. Kui's patronage. We're on the verge of securing a partnership with the Wen family, the most powerful clan in Jiangcheng. Don't you dare jeopardize this with your petty jealousy. Remember your place, or you'll find yourself back in the gutter where we found you." Little did they know, their precious Wen family partnership was nothing but a mirage. The irony of their ignorance might have been amusing if it weren't so tragic. They were all pawns in a game they didn't even know they were playing, and I had finally tired of maintaining this charade. Qin Rohan's next words made my blood run cold. "Darling, why are you overreacting? I only had a child for someone else," she said, as if discussing the weather. "The baby will stay with us until 18, and I'll make sure they call you Dad. I promise there's nothing between Kui Liang and me. You're still the only one I love." Each word dripped with such casual cruelty that I almost admired the artistry of her deception. 5 years of marriage flashed before my eyes. 5 years of her dodging my desire for children with perfectly crafted excuses, career priorities, physical concerns, timing issues. Yet here she stood, mother to a month-old infant after my year-long absence. The irony was exquisite. I had hidden my identity as the heir to one of the country's largest conglomerates because I fell for her seemingly innocent eyes, believing I'd found something pure in this materialistic world. In the end, I was the truly innocent one. Kui Liang's voice cut through my bitter reflections. "You're nothing but a kept man living off your wife's family," he sneered, his face twisted with contempt. "I could crush you like an ant beneath my shoe." I met his gaze with glacial calm, noting with detached interest how the entire Qin family nodded along, drinking in his words like gospel. Very well. They had chosen their path. Initially, I had planned to simply walk away, severing all ties with the Qin family. But their arrogance had awakened something darker within me. They wanted to play at being the elephant that crushes ants? Time to show them what real power looks like. I cast one last look around the house I had helped build. Every brick, every tile, every success the Qin family enjoyed, all of it bore my fingerprints. I had poured my heart into this family, and now I would take equal care in dismantling it. Without another word, I retreated to my room, closing the door on their self-satisfied faces. My first action was to call my father. "Dad, initiate termination of all contracts with the Qin family." The brief pause that followed was broken by my father's delighted laughter. "Finally! Your mother and I have been waiting to hand over the reins to you. Come home soon, son." The warmth in his voice was a stark contrast to the cold calculation I was now embracing. After hanging up, I retrieved the hidden camera I'd used in Thailand to protect my financial documents. As I finished installing it in a discreet corner, the door burst open. My mother-in-law, Lu Feng, stormed in, her face dark with fury. The stage was set for the next act in this family drama, and I was no longer playing the role of the docile son-in-law. "Kui Liang is staying tonight," my mother-in-law announced, her tone dripping with barely concealed satisfaction. "He and Rohan need to be with the child, so you'll sleep next door." I fought to hide my dark amusement. They were practically gift-wrapping the evidence I needed. Forcing my features into a mask of dejection, I nodded meekly, earning a rare look of approval from Lu Feng. "Remember, Xiaoqing," she continued, her voice syrupy sweet with condescension, Though the child isn't yours by blood, you'll still be called Dad. You're a father now. Focus on building the Chin family's future for the sake of your new son. Her brazen shamelessness no longer sparked anger in me. Instead, I silently tallied each transgression, each one another nail in the coffin I was crafting for their ambitions. As night fell, the sounds from the next room pierced through the thin walls, a grotesque symphony of passion interspersed with an infant's cries. Despite my emotional detachment from Chin Rohan, each sound sent tremors of rage through my body. I pulled the quilt over my head, but it did nothing to block the flood of memories that assaulted me. I remembered how she used to hold me, her whispered declarations of love seeming so genuine, her eyes pools of apparent devotion. Now those same whispers belonged to another man. I squeezed my eyes shut, fighting the urge to storm next door and exact violent revenge. The rational part of my brain knew it wasn't worth it, but primal rage doesn't listen to reason. Kui Liang's irritated voice cut through my dark thoughts. Can't they shut that baby up? Why didn't they leave it with the nanny? It's ruining the mood. The contempt in his voice for his own child was telling. We needed an excuse. Chin Rohan's voice was honey-sweet, practiced in its manipulation. How else could we justify sharing a room? We need to give him some face. Her pretense at consideration for my dignity was almost comical. Why bother with his feelings? Kui Liang scoffed. Does he actually matter to you? Chin Rohan's laugh was light, playful, a sound I once found enchanting. Don't be jealous. When you asked for a child, I immediately shipped him off to Thailand, didn't I? I'm only keeping things civil because he's useful. Think about it. Free labor for the Chin family and our child. Forever. Their casual cruelty solidified my resolve. Soon they would learn that the ant they mocked had the power to bring their entire world crashing down. The bitter irony of it all struck me like a physical blow. I had thought my year-long absence in Thailand had driven her to infidelity. Instead, their betrayal had been orchestrated from the start. While I was working myself to exhaustion, counting days until our reunion, I was nothing but a pawn in their game. The realization turned my sleepless night into a twisted meditation on my own naivety. The next day, around noon, I was jolted awake by voices and commotion. Dragging my packed suitcase into the courtyard, I stumbled upon a scene that could have been a painting of domestic bliss. The Chin family and Kui Liang, arranged in picture-perfect formation before a photographer. Their faces wreathed in practiced smiles. The moment they spotted me, those smiles calcified into various expressions of disdain. Only Chin Rohan maintained her facade, waving with manufactured warmth. Xiao Qing, hurry! We're taking a family photo. We were waiting for you. The photographer raised his camera, but Lu Feng's sharp voice cut through the air. Why include him? He'll only diminish our family's image. Qin Tingyue's eyes fell on my luggage, and his face twisted into a sneer. Back to Thailand with you. That's the only place we need you. At least you know when to make yourself scarce. I met their contempt with silence, turning away without a word. Behind me, Chin Rohan's saccharine voice floated on the air. Safe travels, Xiaoqing. Call when you arrive. We'll never forget everything you've done for us. Their laughter chased me down the street like a pack of hyenas. Let them laugh. They had no idea what was coming. My first call was to my operatives within Chin Corporation, key personnel I had strategically placed from the Wen family. Return immediately, I ordered. My second call was to General Jing Cha of the Thai military, a man who owed me several favors. Shut down all Chin family operations in Thailand, immediately. The pieces were falling into place. When I arrived at the Wen Corporation headquarters, my father was waiting. Without a word, he led me straight into an emergency board meeting. Standing before the assembled directors, he made his announcement with characteristic brevity. I'm retiring, effective immediately. My son, Wen Xiaoqing, will assume the position of chairman. I trust you'll give him your full support. Then he simply walked out, leaving me facing a room full of startled executives. The real game was about to begin. I chased after my father, grabbing his sleeve. "Dad, shouldn't you at least introduce me properly?" He shrugged me off with an impatient smile. "Figure it out yourself. Your mother and I have been waiting 5 years for this moment. We're off to Swiss Longjiang. Managing the company is your problem now." I watched, dumbfounded, as he practically skipped away. My phone erupted with Qin Tingyue's rage before I could process my father's abrupt departure. "Wen Shaoqing, what have you done? The Thailand project's sealed. Partners abandoning ship. Core staff resigning en masse. This has your stink all over it." I allowed myself a cold laugh. "Mr. Qin, you flatter me. How could a mere parasite like me orchestrate something so grand?" I hung up on his sputtering fury. Qin Rohan was next, her voice honey-sweet with desperation. "Darling, please, let's talk about this. Come home. I'm begging you." Kui Liang's voice cut through her plea. "Stop groveling. We're meeting Mr. Wen today. Once we secure that partnership, what harm can a kept man do?" The line went dead. After concluding the board meeting and a company-wide address, I was settling in for a brief rest when my secretary appeared. "Mr. Wen, Kui Liang, son of Steward Kui, requests a meeting to discuss collaboration." I twirled my pen, not bothering to look up. "Denied. Let them stew." The afternoon passed in detailed discussions with HR about company structure. On my way to the restroom, fate delivered a delicious encounter. Kui Liang, Qin Tingyue, and Qin Rohan, their faces cycling through shock to suspicion upon seeing me. Kui Liang recovered first, his signature smirk sliding into place. "Begging for a job already? Let me save you the trouble. Cross me, and you'll never work in Jiangcheng again. One word from me to the Wen Group's boss." He paused, clearly savoring his imagined power. "Though, if you kneel and call me grandfather, I might show mercy." Qin Tingyue jabbed a finger at me, face purple with rage. "You ingrate! After everything the Qin family did for you, this is how you repay us? Don't worry, we've blacklisted you. No company will touch you now. The Wen Group leads Jiangcheng's industry." I let their ignorance wash over me, savoring the irony of their threats. Sometimes the best revenge is simply waiting for reality to hit. "You think your petty tricks can challenge the Qin family?" Qin Tingyue's voice dripped with misplaced confidence. "While we're partnering with the Wen Group, Jiangcheng's elite, you'll be begging on the streets." Qin Rohan grabbed her father's arm, playing her part perfectly. "Dad, don't be harsh. Xiaoqing's just upset." She turned to me with practiced sweetness, her smile as fake as everything else about her. "Darling, come home. We'll talk this through. I understand you were angry about Thailand and the resignations. Fix this mess, and the Qin family will welcome you back. Why humiliate yourself job hunting?" I couldn't suppress my amusement. "Have you considered that my surname might be Wen? As in, the Wen Group?" Before I could finish, Kui Liang's theatrical laughter echoed through the hallway. "Are you trying to kill me with laughter?" he wheezed. "Comparing yourself to the Wen Corporation? Know your place, parasite." Qin Tingyue's face twisted with contempt. "Have you lost your mind? Applying for a job here and claiming kinship just because you share a surname? Though I shouldn't be surprised. You've always been a gold digger, clinging to our Ruohan. But the Wen Group isn't some small-time family you can leech off." Qin Rohan rushed to feel my forehead, her concern as artificial as her devotion. "Honey, are you feverish? Talking such nonsense, let me take you to the hospital after I meet Mr. Wen." My secretary appeared then, frustration evident in her voice. "I've told you the chairman won't see you. Why are you still here?" Kui Liang immediately switched to his sycophant mode, thrusting his business card forward. "There must be some misunderstanding, miss. We're practically family. My father was the chairman's butler." "Chairman?" My secretary turned to me, ignoring them completely. "I apologize for this disturbance. Should I call security? The word chairman hit them like a physical blow. Their faces froze in a tableau of dawning horror, all except Chin Rohan, who recovered with impressive speed. She latched onto my arm, pressing herself against me with practiced familiarity, already calculating her next move. The chess pieces were finally visible to all players, and the game was about to get interesting. Oh, my darling husband is the Wen Group chairman. I'm so happy I could laugh in my sleep. Chin Rohan's performance was flawless, but hollow. The secretary turned to me, confusion evident. Chairman, is this your wife? Not for much longer. I peeled her clinging hands off my arm with cold precision. The wife who claims to love me deeply? Who engineered my business trip so she could have another man's child? Keep dreaming, but prepare for nightmares. Tears filled her eyes on cue. Husband, please, let me explain. Cui Liang and I, it was just artificial insemination. The crack of my palm against her cheek echoed through the hallway. Do I look that stupid? At least respect me enough to craft better lies. Your casual deception is almost more insulting than the betrayal itself. Qin Tingyue scrambled forward. His previous arrogance dissolved into sycophantic groveling. My esteemed son-in-law, I was blind. To think you're the Wen family heir. Please, forget my earlier foolishness. We're family. We can fix everything. Fix it? My laugh was arctic. Weren't you just boasting about blacklisting me? About making sure I'd never find work in Jiangcheng? How dare someone as worthless as me forgive the great Chairman Qin? His face flushed crimson as he stumbled backward. I wouldn't dare claim such a title before the Wen family. I turned my attention to Cui Liang, still cowering behind Chin Rohan. And here's Jiangcheng's elite young master. Weren't you close friends with the Wen family? Why hide behind a woman? Forced into the open, Cui Liang's transformation was remarkable. Mr. Wen, surely you jest. My father was merely your family's steward. Without the Wen family's generosity in providing work, we'd still be guarding your gates. Such modesty! What happened to crushing me like an ant? I stepped closer. Here I am. Show me. The mighty Cui Liang collapsed to his knees, the sound of his fall punctuating the absolute shift in power. The ant had revealed itself to be a dragon, and their carefully constructed world was about to burn. Please, young Master Wen! The sound of flesh meeting marble echoed through the room as Cui Liang's forehead struck the floor. Each desperate kowtow sent tremors through the pristine tiles. I was wrong. So terribly wrong. My father, if he finds out... His voice cracked with genuine terror. The rhythmic dong 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 of his desperate prostration filled the air. Not to be outdone in their display of submission, the Chen father and daughter dropped to their knees beside him. Xiao Qing, we acknowledge our grievous mistakes, they pleaded in unison, their foreheads joining the chorus against the floor. The display was becoming quite the spectacle, and I found myself growing weary of their theatrical remorse. With a subtle gesture, I had my security personnel escort them out. Just then, I caught sight of Chen Ruhan. Before I could react, she burst into tears and rushed toward me, hope blazing in her eyes. Darling, she sobbed, reaching for me. I knew you still cared. You wouldn't have called me otherwise. I stepped back, my lip curling in disgust as I pushed her away. Expect divorce papers at your residence, I stated coldly. Sign them promptly. She tried to protest, but my security team was already leading her away, her pleas fading into the distance. That evening, while I sat enjoying an exquisite dinner accompanied by soft classical music, Cui Shirquan appeared with his son in tow. Uncle Zhang, ever the proper butler, approached my dining room with measured steps. Young lord, he announced with practiced formality, the former butler Cui Shirquan and his son seek an audience. They wish to beg your forgiveness. How shall I proceed? Deny them, I replied, savoring another bite. and ensure no Kui family member ever crosses our threshold again. Spread the word. But before Uncle Zhang could relay my message, Kui Shirquan burst in, dragging his son. With surprising force, he shoved Kui Liang to his knees before me. "Young Master Wen," Kui Shirquan's voice trembled. "My foolish son failed to recognize your status. Whatever punishment you deem fit, we shall accept without question." Uncle Zhang moved to intervene, his face dark with anger. "Out! The young master doesn't wish to see you." But I raised my hand, silencing him. Instead, I took my time examining the deep burgundy depths of my Romanée Conti, letting the tension build. "Butler Kui," I finally spoke, my voice dripping with quiet menace. "You've raised quite the remarkable heir. Impregnating my wife and claiming it honored me?" I swirled the wine thoughtfully. When I dared object, he threatened to crush me like an insignificant insect. He even boasted that without kneeling and calling him Grandpa, I wouldn't survive in Jiangqing. I took a deliberate sip before continuing. Such an impressive individual. Who am I to punish him? I should be grateful he hasn't eliminated me already. Wouldn't you agree, Butler Kui? The color drained from Kui Shirquan's face as the full weight of my words sank in. His legs gave way, and he collapsed beside his son. "Young master," he whispered hoarsely. He deserves death. Everything our Kui family has today came from the old master's generosity. For this beast to bite the hand that fed us. Young master, I've failed in raising my son properly. Kui Shirguan's voice cracked with desperate emotion. Without warning, he began striking Kui Liang's face repeatedly, each slap echoing through the dining room. "You worthless beast! How dare you disrespect young Master Wen? I'll beat you until you're dead." I sipped my wine, letting out a soft, mirthless laugh. "This is a Wen family restaurant, not your personal theater. If you want to stage a familial drama, do it in your own home. You're ruining my appetite." Sensing my irritation, Kui Shirguan's eyes darted around frantically before landing on a baseball bat displayed on the wall. In one fluid motion, he grabbed it and brought it down on his son's leg. The sickening crack of breaking bone was followed by Kui Liang's agonized screams. "Father, stop! Please! I can't even stand anymore!" My fork clinked against the fine china as I set it down. Can't a man enjoy his dinner in peace? This is becoming rather grotesque. I glanced at Uncle Zhang. "Remove them from the premises." "Young master!" Kui Shirguan fell to his knees, tears streaming down his weathered face. "Look, I've broken this beast's leg myself as punishment. Surely our family deserves a chance at survival." I studied Kui Liang's unconscious form on the floor with detached interest. While I, Wen Shaoqing, may be ruthless, I'm not unreasonable. Your son alone has earned my wrath, not the entire Kui family. Given your loyalty to the old man, your family will remain untouched, provided you stay clear of this creature's affairs. Kui Shirguan's shoulders slumped in relief, though his voice trembled. "I understand, young master. I'll announce his immediate expulsion from the Kui family. All ties will be severed." After word spread that I had assumed the chairmanship of the Wen Group, the Chen family launched a desperate campaign for forgiveness. Their incessant calls and messages became so tiresome that I simply disposed of all my old contact information. I could picture them now, scurrying about like ants on a hot griddle. The Thai project's suspension had dealt them a crushing blow, and their partner's mass exodus had left their finances in shambles. The company was hemorrhaging key personnel, rendering normal operations impossible. By personally severing their last lifeline, the Wen family connection, I'd ensured their downfall. Now they faced mounting contractual penalties for missed deadlines, and I needed only to watch as their empire crumbled beneath a mountain of debt. To guard against any desperate measures, I'd enlisted a specialized security team to keep the Chen family at bay. Yet somehow, Chen Ruhan managed to slip through the cracks. The woman actually concealed herself in the men's restroom at her company, lying in wait like some deranged predator. When I stepped up to the urinal, she burst from a stall, nearly giving me a heart attack. Her appearance was shocking. The once pristine Chen Ruhan now stood before me with matted hair and wild eyes, looking more like a phantom than the elegant woman she'd once been. Without hesitation, she collapsed to her knees on the grimy bathroom floor, her designer clothes soaking up the filth. Desperation had stripped away her last shred of dignity. "Husband," she pleaded, her face contorted with anguish, "I know my wrongs now. Please, save me. Save the Chen family. We're facing an 800 million penalty, and our capital chain is breaking. Without help, my entire family will be imprisoned." Her voice cracked as she continued, "Just lend us 10 billion to weather this storm. You're the Wen family chairman now. It's nothing to you." A cold smile played across my lips. "You're right about one thing. 10 billion is indeed trivial to me now. But tell me, Chen Ruhan, why should I extend this helping hand? Because you orchestrated that business trip to conceive another man's child? Or perhaps because you flaunted your affair in front of me?" She pressed her forehead to the floor, each kowtow echoing off the bathroom tiles. Thud, thud, thud. Tears streaming down her face, she crawled forward to clutch at my legs. "Darling, I've seen the light. I've cut all ties with Kui Liang. The child, if you can't accept him, I'll send him to an orphanage." Her voice turned honeyed, desperate. "Didn't you always want children? We can start fresh. I'll give you 8 children. I'll do anything, absolutely anything." I recoiled from her touch as if it were poison. "I'm no longer interested. You disgust me. Weren't you the ones who claimed Kui Liang was your mighty protector? Why come crawling back to the live-in son-in-law you so thoroughly despised? Am I suddenly worthy of your attention?" Her sobs echoed off the tiled walls. "Please forget him. He's nothing but a fraud who deceived me. He's crippled now, cast out by his own family. He can't even save himself." She drew a shuddering breath. "If we'd known you were the Wen family's young master, the chairman of the Wen Group, we would never have—" "Enough!" My voice cut through her babbling like a blade. "So without the Wen name, I deserved such humiliation? Do common people not deserve basic respect? Is dignity reserved only for the powerful?" I leaned closer, my voice dropping to a whisper. "Your current predicament is poetic justice. Now you can experience firsthand what it feels like to be powerless and humiliated." I straightened my jacket, stepping back. "And Chen Ruhan? Don't ever call me husband again. The word makes my skin crawl." With a gesture, I had security remove her from the men's bathroom, her protests echoing down the hallway until they faded into silence. Just when I thought the Chen family had finally admitted defeat after the bathroom incident, they orchestrated one final desperate ploy. They gathered a mob of unsuspecting reporters at the Wen Group headquarters, with Kui Liang prominently displayed in his wheelchair like a battle trophy. Their banners unfurled like battle standards, each one more outrageous than the last. "The Wen heir defrauded our company. Wen Shaoqing posed as a live-in son-in-law to steal our assets. Justice for the crippled victim of Wen Group's violence." Their accusations painted me as a calculated predator who had orchestrated an elaborate scheme to destroy them. The moment I stepped out of the building, I was engulfed by a sea of microphones and flashing cameras. The crowd's whispers grew into a chorus of condemnation. "These rich people may look refined, but they're wolves in sheep's clothing," someone spat. "He crippled a man just for looking at him wrong," another voice added to the growing hostility. A reporter with meticulously drawn eyebrows thrust her microphone toward me. "Mr. Wen, how do you respond to these serious allegations?" Instead of engaging in a war of words, I simply distributed USB drives to every reporter present. The footage spoke volumes. Chen Ruhan and Kui Liang's intimate moments, carefully time-stamped and documented. The surveillance video of Kui Shiguan Breaking his own son's leg played next, the crack of the baseball bat echoing through shocked gasps. The tide turned instantly. The crowd that had been ready to condemn me now directed their fury at the accusers. What kind of woman flaunts her affair in her husband's face? Like mother? Like daughter? No shame at all. That's the infamous harasser? Karma finally caught up to him. The Chen family and Kui Liang fled under a barrage of water bottles and public scorn. Their attempted character assassination had backfired spectacularly, leaving them not just financially ruined but social pariahs as well. A month later, their names appeared in headlines once more, but not as I expected. Tragic end. Murdered heiress and death row lover, screamed the front pages. The story emerged in brutal detail. Kui Liang, abandoned by his family, had become a parasite clinging to Chen Ruhan. When she finally refused to support what she called a worthless cripple, their argument ended with her blood on his hands. His death sentence came swiftly. The dominoes continued to fall. Chen Tingwei went to prison, drowning in debt. Liu Feng, left alone with an infant and crushed under the weight of scandal, abandoned the child at an orphanage and vanished with an elderly foreign businessman, chasing one last desperate dream of escape. And me? I followed my parents' wishes, marrying someone from our social circle, someone untainted by the tragedy that had consumed the Chen family. As I signed my marriage certificate, I couldn't help but reflect on how karma had orchestrated a more complete revenge than I could have ever planned.